Hey guys, my last video was a message to responsible liberals. This video is not aimed at the reasonable ones. When I got to the coffee house this morning, there was a woman sitting at a table out front, about 45 years old, I'd say. The sun was just coming up on a beautiful morning in a safe and prosperous town. I said good morning and asked how she was doing. Depressed, she said. Really? Why? Because democracy is dead in America. This was the second time within 12 hours I had heard this dire news. The other was on Facebook. An otherwise intelligent, skilled, and generous fellow I know declared the same thing in a post. In response, a friend of his warned that we all need to get out and vote. I said, vote? I thought democracy was dead. I posted about that and heard more stories about people weeping over the corpse of democracy. The idea being that Republicans had killed democracy by putting an end to the impeachment charade. Rule of thumb, if you hear two progressives make the same dumb statement within 12 hours, it's a thing. This is also childish. For over 3 years, the party named after democracy has been bending every rule and every law to remove a president that they don't like. What exactly do they think democracy is? A guarantee that your candidate will win? They own the press, the universities, Google, Amazon, Facebook. That they can still lose an election is proof that democracy is not dead, right? In spite of all their attempts to kill it. I fully grasp that the current president offends their collective sense of what is fashionable and cool. That's a drag for them. Apparently, they consider that grounds to retroactively undo the election they didn't win. Them failing several times at that means that democracy has gone belly up. It's the world's longest continuous temper tantrum, over 1,000 days of rage, and they're just getting warmed up. What a pathetic display. When I was a kid, I sometimes got just a little bit, theatrical. I would slightly injure a leg or turn an ankle and arrive home limping as if I'd been shotgunned in the knee. A few hours later, I'd be dragging my useless limb across the floor, my sneakers squeaking on the hardwood, and my mom would finally have had enough. Dave, stop being so dramatic. But Mom, I'm badly wounded here. I'm lucky to be alive. I need sympathy. I need special treatment. I need to flop my leg around until everybody knows how terribly I've suffered. What does a kid have to do to get some attention around here? Eventually, I learned that to get attention, I actually had to do something worth paying attention to, that I had to stretch myself into some approximation of maturity, and the rewards would begin to come in. Everything, and I do mean everything, that ever sabotaged my progress was rooted in my own refusal to take responsibility for my actions, my childish habit of blaming others for my unhappiness. This is a classic dance of childhood, the whining of one kid in response to the success of another. Why does he get to sleep over at his friend's house? Because he got a great report card and does his chores without me having to tell him. Oh, okay. But it's still not fair. The Democrats have been digging themselves into a hole for decades. With each passing year, they have moved ever farther into a world of outright fantasy. They imagine how people should be and then punish anybody who insists on being who they actually are. For these progressive fools, everything needs to be reimagined, rewired, reconfigured. And if you resist their hive mind resolve, they will absolutely take you down. They felt no moral compunction against railroading the president, digging around until they found some irregularity in a Trump associate's life, and then locking the associates up in hopes that they will cough up something that can take Trump down. There is nothing less in keeping with our constitutional republic than to declare a man criminal and then attempt to find or invent the crime. That's right out of Joseph Stalin's playbook. But this is exactly what they have done. And I'm seeing people I know well becoming infected with this mob mentality. All sense of fair play goes out the window, and with it goes every inkling of perspective and even mental health. They are desperately focused on blaming the president for their failure to thrive as a political ideology. Yeah, most of us learn from our mistakes, but not these freakish modern progressives. What they do is set out to incriminate the opposition because they are too weak of character to look within and own their own mistakes. But they can't even pull that off. Imagine that you knowingly set out to frame a person, and when you fail at that, you see yourself as the aggrieved party. It's like the stories you hear about a guy who breaks into a house and gets an ass full of birdshot and then sues the owner of the house. The basic divide comes down to this. One side, in all its imperfection, holds responsibility as its keystone, while the other talks only of the rights that they are owed. The one ideology says that the source of success lies within and can only emerge through effort. The other party preaches that everybody would automatically be successful if it weren't for the oppressors holding them back. If you place the onus outside yourself, you are forever at the mercy of exterior forces, like a child. If you then further insist that your group must always control those forces through the hand of government, you are not just a child, you're a totalitarian child. When Barack Obama prevailed in 2012, I knew that that meant another 4 years of a lethargic economy. 4 more years of hearing about our failures as a country, more doomy projections of the new normal and how blue-collar jobs were never coming back. Another 4 years of watching the hacks in the State Department turn us into the world's doormat. I knew that the psychotic cancel culture would continue to squash free expression and that a half dozen new categories of oppression would be carved forever into the national consciousness. In other words, I knew that because my team had lost the match, I'd have to live with disappointment. But I also knew that we only have one president at a time, and that for another 4 years, Obama was my president. So I shut my yap and went about my business. Listen, I'm trying to be nice. Truly I am. But this constant blubbering over there across the tracks in Victim Town has overstayed its welcome. The sun is shining. You have roofs over your heads and food in your bellies. By simple dumb luck, you were born in a great country to parents who fed and sheltered you. How about you suck it up and pretend to be grateful for a little while? We know that you are traumatized by not getting your own way. We know that you miss your handsome president of color who made you feel like you were somehow on the right side of history or some other paper-thin concept of self-affirmation. But to quote that very man who himself is sick of all this woke bullshit, to quote him, elections have consequences. Reach inside yourselves and locate what is left of your perspective. Use that to prop up what is left of your maturity, and use that to silence your inner whining brat. The rest of us have had about enough of it. So go up to your room and think about this for a while, and then come back down and join the rest of the family at the dinner table. Go! And for God's sake, stop with the phony limping. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, subscribe to our channel and then click the little bell to get notifications.